Hello, my dear Aquarians. I got two very interesting images to start with. Oh, sorry, this is your reading for the week of April 28th, or when you find it and it resonates. So, Aquarians, this is interesting. I get the first image is of you playing with test tubes and chemicals, like it would be a child's science kit. Okay. Then the next thing I see is you laying on the floor in a pose like you're posing for a centerfold almost, but it's on a green shag rug, not a bearskin rug. There is significance to the fact that it's a child's science kit and that it is green shag and not bearskin. The interesting thing about the about the green shag rug is I have to be careful the words that I use on YouTube, so you might have to read between the lines a little bit here. When you're laying on the shag rug, it's green. Okay. Green is heart, and it's a bright green. It reminds me of spring. So for me, this is new beginnings. And again, my words, I have to choose my words. So Aquarians, sometimes because of your ability to parcel emotions into packages here and put things away there and there, you're not always deeply in connection, or you have not always been in deep connection to your second chakra, which is the chakra that rules all things to do with the reproductive organs. And so sometimes the emotions and the feelings that are associated with that and the hormones related to that are not always something you're aware of and fully living with and in an integrated way, or have not in the past. The fact that it's the science kit is a child's science kit, and the fact that you're playing with test tubes, which is chemicals, and the fact that hormones are chemicals, what I feel like this is saying is it's going back to the idea that many of the patterns around this probably came from things in your childhood. But that now what I'm getting is this is a full-grown you lying on this rug. Again, almost posing for a centerfold, but you're fully clothed. But it gives me this sense that now there is a part of you that is starting to become more aware of pleasure. Now, not just pleasure associated with the second chakra or even the first chakra, or the first, well, we won't get into the analysis of that, but that goes into Ayurveda and all that stuff. I will stick with this. This is something for me that says what you're starting to understand now is pleasure in general in your life. And that as you are starting to understand pleasure, self-care, the things about yourself that you like, being able to breathe and be present enough to say, I don't like this, I do like that. That would be interesting. Now, what would I like to do there? What would excite me? What do I not like? What do I want to give up? What am I ready to let go of? I feel like all those things now are happening because you've liberated yourself from some things recently. You've changed some things on the physical plane that have now allowed you to start really looking at this. So all of this before I pulled the cards. And then the first card that I get is power, then pleasure, then play. And so I'm looking at that and I'm going, well, my gosh, this to me is really talking a lot about the whole thing that I feel started months ago when I started doing these readings, was that we've seen you being really, really encouraged by spirit, like really encouraged by spirit, coming in to say, follow what makes you happy, because this is the way through which you are going to be of the best service. In whatever way that is, whatever the service is, however specifically spiritual it is or not, it's about you fulfilling what is pleasurable for you, makes you delighted, that is going to allow you to offer whatever you have in the best possible way. Now, what I really, really like about this also is that it's really talking about the fact that you are starting to be able to integrate entire parts of yourself that have been cut off. And that as you're doing that more and more, increasingly more and more, and as you're understanding the value of pleasure, the value of play, you're understanding the power in that. But what's beautiful is you're understanding the spiritual power of that. You're understanding how those things, heartfelt pleasure, kind play, spontaneous silliness, all of that stuff, at its root, it's really linked to that innocent essence that is you. And that it breeds that sense of compassion and that sense of service that is not about, slitting, no, I gotta watch that language too. It's not about giving everything all over to people in order to be able to serve. But the idea that service is something that we do mutually, we do by attitude. Yes, sometimes we do it by actions, but it's also an attitude. And that you're starting to understand that there's, there is flow and movement to it, that done with that heartfelt sense of play and pleasure and compassion, that the energy comes back to you and it feeds you. So it doesn't leave you drained. Your concept of service is changing now in a way where it doesn't leave you feel drained. So as I look at this, Aquarius, I don't feel like there's much more I want to say, because I feel like this is spirit reminding you that your essential power is knowing who you are. And part of knowing who you are is giving up whatever aspects of your personality have made service a chore, have caused overwork, have caused you to cut off from the idea of life being able to be play, that work, however you work, does not have to be struggle and efforting, that it can be joyful. And that real power comes from that central part of you, that your play and your acceptance and your honoring of pleasure really moves you towards. And it's also really fascinating. You also get the I like card reminding you, pay attention to what you like about you, what's good about you, what you want to grow more of in this attitude, in this new way of being. And you're also getting the card that's talking about virtue, which is you. It's really within the context of this reading, it's what do you value? What do you honor, both in yourself, in life, in what you'd like to live, and where you want to go? Because I really feel like this is spirit really, really coming in for you, saying, trust the fact that by enjoying your life, you make life better for everybody. And it puts you more in contact with yourself. And it's really a reminder. Spirit is really reminding you. It is not virtuous to be in pain. Pain is not virtue. Pain is not virtue. It's virtue. Pain is not virtuous. It's not virtuous to deliberately put yourself in pain. Do you inadvertently punish yourself with pain? Do you think you're diligent, hardworking, productive, or loyal? And in this case, I would say noble and virtuous. Only if it brings you pain, effort, struggle. You're giving that up, Aquarius. And Spirit is saying, yes, that is where you find real spirituality. That is where you, Aquarius, are going to really tap into that central power for yourself. Okay? This is very nice. Okay, Aquarians, I'm going to leave. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like this, found it helpful, a like always is good for the algorithm and helps it get out to more people. So I would appreciate that if you're in agreement with it. Take care, Aquarians. See you around.